Friday evening. Why do we choose Friday evening? Well, you know what? This is all about testing. And if you're in the marketing space, business space, content creation, it's all about testing. So let me make sure I get my light dialed in for you all. All right, so on a Friday night, we're going to get into the blue zone, hence the color on the back. Here's the thing. Being a good leader very well may be killing your team. What does that all mean? Well, here's what I've found from a leadership perspective and the standpoint of being the best leader that you can possibly be. And what it comes down to is the blue flame zone. This is something that I grappled with for a long time and really had to set out a framework that helped me step into my blue flame zone. So if you know my content, you know Be the Torch. And if you think about a fire, the various different levels or colors of the flame of the fire. Well, if you understand what the blue flame is, if you don't, let me give you a little tutorial here. The blue flame zone usually is at the base, the foundation of a fire, and more often than not, that's where it lives, and it is usually the hottest and the most efficient part of the fire. So, as a leader, you in your blue flame zone allows you to show up in your brilliance, your genius. It aligns with your passion, the impact that you want to make, and the energy that you want to bring. So, being that the blue flame is close to the foundation, that's where the most oxygen is. And so it's the most efficient part of the flame. Here's the thing, man. So many leaders are at a different level of the fire. And I broke them down for you because this is a good visual that I do in my talks. And in fact, just a quick note, if you are someone who is in a leadership role and you bring in outside perspective to come share this type of information, by all means, I would love to be in consideration, because this is what I do. I actually will map this out for everyone so they can see the different levels by which they're leading from. So for example, yes, the blue flame is at the core. It's the most efficient and it burns the hottest. That's where we want to live. But most people aren't there, because if you kind of go outwards from the fire, you've got the yellow flame, the orange flame, the red flame, and then you got the smoke. Wouldn't you believe though, that's where most leaders are hanging out at, is they're in survival mode. Right? They're burnt out. And when something is burned out, it's smoking. If you've ever been around a fire and it's smoking, it's not really burning, it's annoying, it burns your eyes, people are annoyed. And by all means, hey, what's up? Thank you all for joining. Appreciate being here. So I'm going to go backwards. So we talked about the blue flame, burns the hottest, it's most efficient, most amount of oxygen right there. It's the cleanest of the flame. So the smoke is that burnout, exhausted, overwhelmed leader. That's where most people are leading from. The overwhelm, the exhaustion. If you're sitting around a campfire, man, it's burning your eyes. It's burning your team's eyes. It's killing them. So walking it back towards the core, the foundation, you have the red flame, which is the hustle. That's where you're burning red hot. You're hustling, you're grinding. Oftentimes, most leaders, my friends, were in a particular role, and either the leader was promoted or they left. And so you just took someone who was good at that particular role and you put them into leadership. They're still, especially if you're in a sales-led organization, they're still in the hustle mindset. And now you take that hustle mindset and you put them into a leadership role, they're still burning red hot. They're still hustling and trying to get stuff done, and they're burning themselves out. They're going to be smoking pretty soon. They're going to be that smoke very soon. The next level down from hustle is competence. It's the comfort zone. Like, hey, you know what? I'm doing good enough. I'm good at what I do. I'm competent. I'm confident in it. And we're not growing. We're not dying. We're just hanging out. Then you go to the next level, which is our yellow flame, and that's the ego. And from the ego, that's where it's like, look, I have to prove myself. I have to hit my numbers and show everybody who I am, so I can get the recognition. Not my team. It's usually the leader. They're operating from that perspective, that the yellow flame zone. Then we get to our blue flame, and I'm going to give you just a brief framework here that I hope you can use and figure out how to apply into your life. Again, if you want help and support doing this for your individual life, reach out to me. If you want this for your team, obviously I can bring it to your team as well. So the blue flame, this is a deeper purpose. This is better flow. This is passion. This is purpose. And so the blue flame, the acronym of the blue actually plays right into the framework. So the first thing, and for those of you just jumping on here, I get it. You're probably wondering what's going on. We're talking about the blue flame zone, and it's a method for stepping into, as a leader, a place where you can be your most efficient, your most aligned. You can burn the hottest without hustling, so that you can be the leader that your team needs you to be, so they can be in their blue zones, their blue flame zones. So what is a blue flame zone? Well, it's where you are, and I'll start with the B, you're in your brilliance. Not necessarily what you're good at. There's a lot of people that are good at stuff that don't like doing it, that aren't excited about it. They're not turned on. They're not passionate, but they're good at it. So you know what? And I get paid, or my team is performing, my business is performing, so be it. And man, that's not a good place to live from. And it's imagine, just like, hey, I'm in a relationship with someone, and you know what? It's not who I really want to be with. It's not the relationship that's really ideal. But you know what? We don't fight. It's cool. It's calm. That's not really where you want to be. So as a leader in a relationship or in your business, we want to first step into our brilliance. What is your genius? What is your super skill? Like, what is it that people come to you and ask you questions about? Prime example, for me, health and fitness has always been something that I don't have to think about. And I know there's a lot of people who come into this lifetime with a constraint of health and fitness. That's never been mine. Money, relationships, absolutely have been constraints of mine. Health was never one of them. So people would always come to me and ask me, I'm wanting them to ask me questions about business and leadership, but they're asking me, like, what do you do for working out? Like, what are you eating? What do you train at? How do you train? And where I used to just get frustrated and say, well, I didn't, like, kind of brushing them off, I had to embrace that and say, okay, look, clearly people identify that as something that I do well, that I do effortlessly, and want to know more about it. What is your super skill as a leader? What do you do well? Not what necessarily you've been trained to do, the skills that you've been trained to have. But what is your super skill? What makes you irreplaceable? Not necessarily what you're good at, especially in the age of machines coming on. Maybe what you're good at could easily be replaced by a machine, but what can you do that's irreplaceable, that the market or your organization, your boss is looking and going, I cannot get rid of this person because of, boom, this super skill. What is that? Let's let that come out of you. What are you uniquely good at? That's the B, your brilliance. What are you uniquely good at? The next one is L. What do you love doing? What are you most passionate about? And oftentimes, people that I work with oftentimes just put passion to the side for profits, for money. Hey, you know what? I'm not super stoked on it, but hey, I'm getting paid, and that's good enough to keep the lights on and prepare for the future and start a family and all that. I get it. And over time, that is going to smoke out, right? We went all the way to the end of the very beginning of this conversation. We said burnout is the smoke. Sitting around that campfire, the wood is burning, irritating your eyes. You're going to have some resentment if you don't love what you're doing. That's the L. The U is unleashing others, putting others in a position to where they get to step into their blue flame zone. And if you're a leader that lives in the yellow flame, where it's all about ego, you want the recognition, you're not putting others in a place where they can excel. They can they can grow past you, right? That's especially as a father, that's what we want. We want our children to grow up and do better than us. Those that you lead, you want to unleash them. Put them in a position where they get to step into their brilliance, step into something that they're most passionate about. Be amazed how many times you can take someone who's just kind of surface level, can't really, they're just kind of putting along, and then you put them into a place where they're uniquely skilled at, where they're irreplaceable, what they love doing, and all of a sudden they just light up. That's the opportunity that we have when we can unleash others. So it's a ripple effect. You show up in your blue flame zone, it's a ripple effect. Others see that, they want to do the exact same thing. And so they're going to take that invitation to do that. The next part is expandable. So that's the E. And this is your legacy. So what are you willing to commit to on a long-term basis? Those of you down here on LinkedIn and Facebook, when you get up in the morning, like, are you super excited about this? If you're already the best at it, but you're bored or you're resentful, you're not in your blue flame. If you are commitment to mastery, that's where it steps. So the E is expandable. That's the mastery. I want to be a master of this. So quick recap. Blue is your brilliance, what you're uniquely good at. Where are you irreplaceable? L, that's you're most passionate about. You love doing it. The U is unleashing to others, right? You start. You got to be the flame first, be the torch, lead by an example. Then you can help others expand, to help support them to step into their blue flame zone. And then the E, which is expandable. This is your legacy. This is creating a place of mastery. This is where you are now I call it a torchbearer, right? It's just, you embody it. You are it. You don't have to strive for it, wish and hope and pray. You are it. So, you may be good at leadership. You may be a good leader, and it may be killing your team. And it's time for you, because if it's killing your team, it's killing you. You're just not willing to admit it. And you're just saying, hey, I'm doing it. I'm getting paid. I like doing it. And yet, you're not being of service, because you stepping into what you're uniquely best at, where you're most efficient, where you burn the hottest with passion, that's where you want to be. That's how you want to operate from. Man, it's easier on your stress. Talk about longevity, health. It's easier on your family when you get home. And it's easier for your team, for you to operate from your blue zone. So there you go, my friends. If you need additional support on this, by all means, the blue flame zone, the whole method and process is something I can bring in and teach to your teams or support you as a leader. Just reach out, help support. If this was helpful, in the comments, my friends, let me know. Did this make sense? Do you see some value in this? Would you like to bring this talk to your teams? Let me know. Shoot me a message. Appreciate you all being here on a Friday. Catch you next time. All right, LinkedIn, Facebook. Catch y'all. Appreciate it.